All right, we got the Cinnamon Cove security guard up next. Bruce Lauerman. Where's our security gentleman? Here he comes. Here comes Bruce.
All right, let's knock it off out there. I want you to shut up, sit up, and turn off those phones. I've got some announcement here, and I'm not going to be repeating it for you slow learners. Now, first of all, we know who you are. Now, Cinnamon Cove is a paradise all to itself. And to keep this paradise running smooth, we got to have rules. And we got to have lots of rules. And I am in charge of enforcing those rules for us. And I keep this place running like a Swiss watch, I guarantee you. It's my job to see that you disruptors follow those rules so Cinnamon Cove can stay the geriatric Eden that it is. Now, notes. Remember, we know who you are. This COVID-19 epidemic quarantine has really battened things down around here. We've had to make a lot of changes. We elected a new board, but we needed lots more new rules. And there's nothing like rules. Boy, we gotta have rules. I didn't think this COVID-19 epidemic was much when I first got down here, until I went over to Publix to buy wallpaper. There wasn't one roll of toilet paper. Depends on where you come from, whether that's wallpaper or toilet paper. Anyway, when I got over there wasn't one roll left. There wasn't an item in the whole aisle. It was barren, it was deserted, it was like a desert. I will say it was a good place to go when you needed to fart. Other than that, Cinnamon Cove immediately rose to the crisis of the pandemic. The first thing we did, we jumped on it and we locked the front doors to the clubhouse, probably saving hundreds of lives. Now, if you need to use the exercise room, if you need to use the library, if you need to use the restroom, or if you just need to go in and use the office facilities, you go in the back door. Now, the new board has decided that this protection will continue. The front door will stay locked, and that's their edict. Remember now, we know who you are. By the way, if any of you know where the key to the front door is, we'd sure like to have it back. Before we move on to the new board and the many new rules, I want to warn you newcomers, and I know we've got some newcomers, and you don't know what it's like to be in the sun down here. We're much closer to the equator in southwest Florida, and it's real easy to get a bad burn. If you get a sunburn, I suggest you do what I do. I just pop a couple of Viagra tablets. It doesn't do much to cure the sunburn, but it does keep the sheets off your legs at night. Now, I asked my wife the other day, I said, do you care if I start taking some Viagra? Kind of to spice things up, you know? She said, well, what do they cost? I said, they're $10 a piece. She said, go ahead, what's another $20 a year? Now, I know I probably shouldn't be talking about Viagra up here. It's kind of a tender subject. But we all are adults here. And we all know what that four-letter word is for what two people can do together in bed, right? Read. You didn't like that? Read. Before we now, let me tell you about my wife. I met my wife when I was a senior in college, and we started going together in college, and we dated in college. And one day I asked her, I said, say, am I the only one you've ever dated? She said, oh, yes. He said, all the others were 9s and 10s. Remember, We know who you are. Now, I want you to know the board's still working on that water problem. We know that the tap water down here keeps turning everybody's hair gray, but we think we can solve that. The board is also cracking down on all rule breakers, and tonight when you go to the beer wagon, we're going to be carding. Now back to the announcements. Our tattoo club for beginners has been canceled. It wasn't a case that we didn't have enough people interested in learning the art of tattooing. It was a case that we couldn't find any unwrinkled skin down here to work on. The board has decreed that we're going to have a new Veterans Park. Unfortunately, we won't have a flagpole. Last year at Veterans Day, we had a couple of nasty eye injuries when the veterans got up and saluted the flag. Several of them forgot they had their cane in their right hand. Now, I think the flagpole's a budget thing, and they actually want us veterans to mow the grass. That's why they're naming the park after us. Let me tell you a little bit about the economy down here in Fort Myers. We have got some problems. Fort Myers, you know, they call themselves the city of palms. But now that we have a beggar at every traffic light, they're going to change that to the city of the extended and open palms. You probably aren't aware of the fact that those people are unionized and they carry a union card. Of course, it's printed on brown cardboard. If you ask to see it, it'll tell you the height and the weight. And on the bottom in big black letters, it says, God bless. You got to think about that? Okay. It's getting so anymore you can't cross the street down here without a guy from New Jersey throwing a handful of change at you. Now, the government thinks that we can restart the economy if all of you will go out and do something you've never done before. Something exotic, something different, something exciting. Perhaps it's on your bucket list, but you got to do something you've never done before. In my case, I borrow money from my kids. Now let's face facts. We're all down here for the same reason. It's not pickleball, it's not shuffleboard, it's not sunshine games, it's not card games, it's not these parties. We're all down here hiding out from our kids so they can't put us in a nursing home. Now remember, we know who you are.